Hello everyone and welcome back to a football forecast, and today's video I'm going to preview and predict some major European football games for this weekend, and these are going to be games that don't involve Premier League games because I've already done my Premier League predictions on my YouTube channel as well. So if you're interested in my Premier League predictions, then check out that video after you've watched this one. Despite not doing any Premier League games for this preview, I'm actually going to start with the Steel City derby between Sheff Wednesday and Sheff United. And why? Because I'm actually really excited for this, because both teams are absolutely crap. It really is the only way to explain this, but it will make it into a proper sort of passionate affair. I'm expecting just flying challenges and both sides that are desperate to win this game. Sheff Wednesday, they just want to give something back to fans. They know they're unlikely to stay up in this division, but if they could win against their local rivals in a game in which no one would have saw them having a chance going into the season. But I think at Hillsborough, with Chansiri recently leaving the club, which is why Wednesday are actually on a -2 points deduction, they'll be able to sort of, I think, enlight the crowd. I think it's going to be a really difficult game for Sheff United. And I actually don't think for this game, Sheff United are in a much better of a state. And that's why, because you've got good, should in theory, good players playing badly. Players that were one season looking like they were going to get promoted and now sort of fighting the relegation battle. And that is difficult to come past. We've seen teams like Luton really struggle with this. Sunderland, everyone knows the famous Sunderland story of sort of having a squad that looked like they could potentially go up. Same with Luton, and then they ended up getting relegated. And this can sort of just continue this sort of trajectory of just sort of being disappointed because you're not where you expect to be. And I think this could benefit Wednesday in this game. I'm going with a Sheff Wednesday win. I'm going 2-1 Wednesday. I'd love to see this happen, just to give something, I guess, back to those fans who, to be honest, have gone absolute turmoil in the last sort of 2 or 3 years. So then we've got a game that's sort of a derby between Nice and Marseille. It's not Marseille's main game. Their main game is against PSG. But this is a game between two Mediterranean sides, sort of on the coast between Nice and Marseille. And I'd say sort of how it's occurred in the last and before, this would be considered a proper football derby. The game has been abandoned in the past because of throwing objects and stuff like this. And look, you don't want to see that exactly in football. You do want to see the games going heads. And you want to see that sort of rivalry, but you don't want it to end to sort of that sort of level of escalation. And it's going to be a really good game, I think, between these two sides. I think the fact it's at Nice gives something extra, because Marseille are favourites going into this game. But Marseille are really starting to challenge for Ligue, and they could be a side that may at some point be able to challenge PSG, but the PSG squad is just so good. I'm going to go with a Marseille win. I'm going to go with a 3-1 away win for Marseille. So then we are on to Barcelona versus Athletic Club. And look, this is going to be interesting. And why? Because Barcelona have players out for this game. Frenkie de Jong is out already. He is suspended. Pedri is injured. And Yamal potentially may be out as well. And also, Barcelona's defence has been horrendous recently. It's just not good enough. They're really lacking not having Inigo Martinez, who obviously left on a free. And I think players like Nico Williams are going to be able to really exploit this, get him behind and cause Barcelona trouble. And I'm actually going to go with a Bilbao win for this game. I'm going with a 3-2 win for Bilbao. We are then moving over to Italy to discuss two sides that are underperforming where they want to be. And that of first is Fiorentina. Fiorentina currently lying 20th place and look like they're going to be in a big relegation scrap this season. Juventus are struggling. It's that simple. They're not being able to pick up enough wins. Spalletti is coming now for Juventus. I think that's a very good manager appointment. I think Spalletti is an excellent manager, and I'm interested to see how he can perform with this Juventus side. Where do I think Juventus could come undone in this game? Maybe the fact that it's a bit of a rivalry. Maybe Fiorentina might get a bit up for this game. But realistically, like, Fiorentina are just nowhere near where they need to be right now. I'm going for a 2-1 away win for Juventus. So then we're on to Elche Real Madrid back in Spain. And look, Real Madrid are without a lot of key players for this game. They've got the likes of Kylian Mbappe potentially out. They've got the likes of Valverde potentially out of a hamstring. Dean Huijsen is potentially out. There's quite a few players to talk about. Courtois as well. So injuries are going to be a problem for Real Madrid in this game. Looking at Elche, I mean, Elche have been pretty good in La Liga so far, in 11th place, just sort of mid-table, and they're just very sort of solid. They don't concede too many, they don't score too many, and that's why they're sort of sitting around sort of mid-table, sort of 1 goal scored and 1 goal conceded a game. I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw. I just think that Real Madrid have just got so many players out, they may struggle to find a result here. They struggled in a similar game away at Rayo Vallecano as well. So we're going to end with the biggest game of the weekend. Definitely other fixtures I've talked about. It's the Milan derby between Inter Milan and AC Milan. And look, I get really excited for this game because I think it's a very old traditional rivalry. It's a sort of a classic game. It's at San Siro in the neutral ground, but it's actually Inter who'll be given the more allocation and the home advantage for this game. And look, Inter have been the better sides this season. Inter are top of Serie A, but Milan have been a lot better this year than they have been in the past or the last couple of seasons. Milan have really struggled in the last couple of years, but Allegri has turned them around to an extent and they've got them in third place. They are really solid defensively, very hard to break down. And that's probably what the battle's going to have to be. Inter will have to probably take the front foot and Milan will look to punish them on the counter-attack as they've done effectively all season. If you look at the game against Napoli, Napoli battered them, but they managed to win basically with their skill on the counter-attack and so solid defensively. And it's so hard to pick a result here because AC Milan have had a good record against Inter despite struggling recently. They have not lost in 5 against Inter Milan, and for that reason I actually might go with a weird AC Milan win. I'm going with a 2-1 away win for AC Milan. I think they've got the pace and the ability to punish Inter on the counter-attack. The right back is likely to be Augusto, who actually plays more predominantly as a left back. So for me, that is where I would be targeting if I'm AC Milan. Someone like a Leao has definitely got a chance of the counter. They've obviously do play a 5-back though, Inter Milan, so they'll most likely have Bisak covering for him. But I still think that left-hand side is an area where AC Milan can definitely threaten in this game. Let me know your thoughts on these predictions for these games. What other games do you want me to include in? What other games would you want me to include? Let me know your thoughts on these games as well as the video. Do you like this sort of idea of sort of covering the top European fixtures? And as I was saying, there is a separate Premier League prediction video if that's more what you're interested in. And then you want to see my Premier League predictions. Every game is available on another YouTube video. And what other games would have you wanted me to include in this week's? And let me know in the comments the games that you wanted me to include, and I'll let you know my score prediction. And if you enjoy this, it would be great if you could subscribe to this channel as well as liking the video.